Level with me. Finding the things you're truly passionate about can be tough. Those great passions that become more than hobbies, that you get invested in, that will devastate you if they don't work out, if you can even give up on them. Those passions are some of the most powerful and destructive things we can experience as people. Those passions can be the things we base our entire lives around, what help us get up every day, what our sights are always aimed towards on the horizon. But finding that passion, then pursuing it, is it really just that simple? Sometimes I wish it was. Passion is one of a million first steps, the first number in a complicated equation that can be written out in countless ways. But what drives those desires? What is the motivation behind each move you make towards that ultimate goal? What keeps you going each step of the way through trials and tribulations, peaks and valleys, the good and the bad? When did my hobby turn into something that tore me apart so much? I started this YouTube channel back in 2013. We are now approaching 7 years here, some more active than others. But I've been making videos in some form or another for over a decade now. My first channel says I started in September of 2009 when I was 12 years old. And I had probably been watching YouTube for at least 2 or 3 years at that point. This website was still in its infancy back then, actually. I followed that channel up with 2 others and eventually landed here. Funny enough, this is my oldest username, actually, my first, and yet my latest username in this online adventure of content creation. One of my first videos was a Roblox video, of all things, back when my family desktop could barely handle playing the game and trying to record with, I think it was Fraps back then? It's very difficult to remember nowadays, honestly. I was really active on Roblox back then, and one of the 2 games on that site that I really actively played in back then, the owner made a little clip show video. And those inspired me to at least attempt something of that sort. And then I eventually got banned from that server because I was joking around with one of the other regulars, and a mod got a bit too serious and kicked us both. Fun times. But what does that have anything to do with this video and the title at hand? Well, I kind of wanted people to laugh along with me for a few moments, but regarding the actual point here, it's to point out that I've been at this for almost half my life in some fashion or another. And back then, it was just for fun. I made a second channel with 2 friends in middle school that featured a lot of Club Penguin, which, welcome back from the dead, by the way. Then the channel directly previous to this one, which didn't last very long before I realized, you know what? Don't like the username that much. And it took me years to start clearing that name from my different accounts, and even then it definitely still exists in too many places. Honestly, even for a solid chunk of time on this channel, making videos was a fun hobby where I just wanted to teach myself more and more about editing. One view would make me ecstatic, especially if it was within the first day of an upload, even the first week. But over time, something happened, and the hobby that had kept me entertained while I taught myself something new warped into something else. I had the inkling in my mind for a long time that making videos online as a career would be something I'm interested in. And as I made my way through high school and got pushed to go to college, I was still very lost as to what I could possibly major in. I didn't want to go to college at all. But eventually I settled on film because that meant I could just learn more about production and editing and hopefully apply it to the videos I had made for a couple years at that point. With each video I made, even from a bit before that decision, I got more and more serious about wanting to actually see results from my uploads. My original goal of trying to learn something new each time I edited was no longer satisfying enough for me. And I guess it's from there that I've just been in this weird spiral. Not necessarily downward, but it definitely hasn't been mainly upwards either. I've had great friends start channels. I've given what little advice I could offer from the research I had done. I watched so many people start off and pass me within months. I uploaded more videos, watched the view count stay at 0, or maybe never even pass 5. I got better equipment, tried new games, tried full-on Let's Plays, and ultimately I wasn't happy with my results. And I wasn't happy with myself because of it. But realistically, I'm rarely satisfied, especially with myself. I'm the type of person that if I'm not constantly pushing myself for more, I'm lazy. I just won't do anything. I need that movement. I need that rush. I need that inertia. Or I just can't even get myself to get out of bed to do things in my day. College slowed down my uploads, but I also got to experience new things, find new interests, and get new perspectives on older hobbies. I hosted a radio show for 2 years, and honestly, that first semester alone changed my entire college experience. It was the most beautifully bittersweet thing I could have experienced in my 3.5 years at college, and it breaks my heart to this day. My mom, of all people, urged me to just find some sort of activity to get me from hiding in my dorm all day, and that ended up turning into me finding a flyer for the college radio station. From there, it was asking my amazing friend Sky to help me design a poster that I threw up all over my dorm. And fun fact, some of those posters actually remained up in the dorm all year because no one cared to take them down, and I incorrectly assumed somebody would. But those posters led me to a group of amazing people, and I still beat myself up occasionally for not having tried to be more than just co-hosts with all of them. But that first semester of the show, it was amazing, and we kicked ass with what we did. The discussions, the music, this overall dynamic of a bunch of strangers coming together for this first show, and there was this immediate energy, this electricity between us from a shared passion coming out over airwaves. I really wish we had it recorded and archived somewhere. I know I'd reminisce over it so many times a year. And the second semester was solid too, but after that it just wasn't the same. We got busy, some of them formed their own shows and shined so much. I remember listening to all of them, even in classes and in my dorm room. That show and those amazing people will forever mean the world to me. I just wish I could properly thank them someday. After that, I got onto 2 TV shows on campus, and I was even a founding host for one semester, but it just didn't work out after that. When figuring out what major to pursue in college, I had briefly considered writing, and while I truly believe it was a smart decision to not do that, I eventually picked it up as a minor in my last year after taking a couple writing classes for the credits, after they helped me remember just how much I loved the stories that I had floating around in my head for so long, how much I loved hearing other people's creativity and getting inspired from it, getting challenged to go outside of my comfort zone and come up with new things, new genres I wouldn't write normally. But those classes also helped me realize that, honestly, the stories I want to write are probably better off in a more visual form, at least more so than just text alone. But I'm no artist, and I never have been. So for the most part, those stories are just bouncing around in my head still. New ideas coming over time, but just lying in wait. I even started getting way more into streaming now that I'm out of college and working. I reached affiliate on Twitch after a hell of a grind, but since then, it feels like I've just hit a wall on that platform. And after every stream I do, I can't help but be reminded of my YouTube channel and how after almost 7 years now, I still only had 63 subscribers. It's all of this adding up in my head through good times and darker ones lately, and it's all culminated lately in a way that I really couldn't just avoid these thoughts anymore. Couldn't just be passively depressing when friends would post about their successes on their videos or streams and group chats for me to see. I've been thinking a lot about how despite my efforts, my time, my money invested, the things I'm so passionate about seem to always leave me disappointed in myself, my efforts, and my results. What am I doing wrong? What are they doing right? Why am I so bad at something I've spent so much time on? It's astoundingly easy to find that after one bad thought, another one can come, and another, and so forth. It's astoundingly easy to end up comparing ourselves to the people around us, the things they're doing, whether directly related to us or not. And it's been a rut for me for far too long, actually. When did my hobby turn into something that tore me apart so much? It was so gradual, so over time, so over the months and years that I just didn't realize it. It was that small idea of this hobby eventually growing into something more, into what I went to college for. But the numbers never growing with it. Realizing that I'm not the most original with my video ideas, meaning something else would have to get people to watch what I made and keep them around. There's a million little things that came together into this mess that's been clouding and crowding up my head for so long now. And it sucks. I'm a victim of my own actions, and there's no one to blame but me. But blaming myself isn't the right thing here. And yet, it's what I always do. It's what I'm just used to. But I'm just exhausted. I'm tired of not doing better, tired of not seeing those numbers grow, and tired of beating myself up over it. And that's part of the big reason that I just stopped uploading. And yet there's been several times that I've jumped onto my channel, looked back at old videos, and just reminisced. Been happy to see those memories immortalized. Laughed at my own jokes. Remembered specific edits I did, stuff I hid in videos, how I taught myself some things, and God, how hard some of it was for me to learn. And that's relatively unheard of for me as a person. I usually keep the things I make to myself because I'm embarrassed. Because I'm afraid of being judged for it. Because I don't find it good enough. And yet, these videos I've actually shared with some friends over the years, and I'm able to look back at them and just feel happy about it. There's something special to it. Some of the stories I wrote in college are just as special to me, and honestly, I think it's because of this crazy little channel and how it's helped me grow as a person over the years that I'm able to look at some of my work and think more about the good stuff than just sit and critique it. I want to be better. I want to grow. I want to take this passion of mine that I've been ever so slowly cultivating over the years and make sure that it doesn't just die. And I have so much work ahead of me if that's ever to happen. So much research to do, so many new things to teach myself, so many ideas that I can't just sit around and wait to come to me like I always do. But it's so tough for me to open up this channel and look at those numbers and not remember why I slowed to a halt in the first place. I am my own worst enemy. But this is also the very same passion born from what replaced television for me, what got me to decide my very first dream job was working at Rooster Teeth, what I've spent so many countless hours digging through rabbit holes for answers to simple questions for, what has led me to so many creative minds sharing their thoughts in a fashion that I'd love to join in on. I want to tell stories. I want to share my passions. I want to make videos, books, or comics. I want to voice act. I want to stream. I want to meet people all over the world through doing these things. I want to be better. I want to take the hobby that made me so happy once and rekindle that flame, this time in a way that lets it grow over time instead of just giving up on it. I want a lot of things. I want to make videos again and become a better entertainer for them and my streams. I want it so much. But I feel like I still just don't have actual ideas of what to make. I feel lost. But as a wise, mustached man once said, the darker the night, the brighter the stars. That fire within me never died, even though it easily could have. Instead, it just hungers to keep burning. I haven't had an idea of what to make since the Warframe video, the last one I made, which came out several months after I even had the idea to make it. Streaming the games I'm playing through really is just an easier way to do it. But I just have this itching desire to keep trying to come up with something to try again. To do it because I love to do it. And let the analytics take a back seat this time. And that's gonna be tough because I like to see the results of my work. When I edit a video and do something new, I can immediately see what I've learned there, in front of me. And when I post a video, I can see those numbers. It's all about the numbers here. If I ever want this to become a career someday, those numbers have to matter. I just have to be able to remind myself that enjoying what I'm doing matters as much, if not more. I have to be better. I know that I'm passionate about this. I know what motivates me to try. I just need a little inspiration to get me started, to get that first foot forward, and to not burn myself out again.